Welcome to the Art of Hobbiness. I'm your host, Tam, and I have my lovely co-host, Erin, with me. But not just Erin is in the studio today. We also have a dear friend of ours. Her name is Kateri. Kateri!
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're so glad you're here with us. Well, first of all, not only are you a friend of ours, but you yourself are a very successful woman in taking your hobbies and turning them into business.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course, right? So, if you can just talk a little bit about yourself. Like, I know that you started off in stray rescue here in St. Louis, correct?
I did.
And then from there, you launched into your cat cafe, correct?
Yeah.
So,
I guess I could kind of start off of why I wanted to go into animal rescue.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, I'm a graphic designer at heart, my other real job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was driving home from my other job. I wasn't in rescue at that point. I was driving home from my other job. I was working for a women's shoe company. And on the side of the highway, I saw a kitten laying on the side of the road. And I was like, holy shit. Oh, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, my God. And it was, like, in traffic. And so I, passed it. And then I was like, oh, my God. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I did it, did a turn all the way back around from the highway, came back around. And I was like, oh, my God, there it is. So then, I made a mental note of where it was on the road. Came back. And I got out of my car, put my flashers on, and it had already been deceased.
Aww.
So I was like, oh, my God, what do I do? This poor kitten was dead on the side of the road. And I was like, that's when I knew that I needed, I don't know, like it was like something that I knew that I was like, I feel like I need to do something about this.
Wow.
So then I applied for a couple jobs, and then I got a call from Stray Rescue. They were hiring a graphic designer. And
just for people that are not from St. Louis.
Stray Rescue of St. Louis is a nonprofit animal rescue where they rescue mainly stray dogs and abused animal cases from the St. Louis streets. And they kind of bring them in, rehabilitate them, treat them up to their health for them to get adopted again into loving homes where they weren't previously. So that's Stray Rescue. But then, so when I got a job at Stray Rescue, I was like, okay, this is actually what I want to do. And I remember when I first got hired, they were like, you're going to be seeing some really horrible photos. And I was like, I think I can handle this. I knew that I was kind of a strong-willed person, just like through the past. I know I've been through a lot of shit. So it's like I was able to handle handle this. And, of course, these photos are really bad. Aww. But knowing that, Stray Rescue is able to be there for these animals that didn't have anything going for them, and they had that help to
that is so cool. I didn't know that story about you, that you just
really?
That you so quickly pivoted and realized your passion. I thought it was kind of evolved over time, and how cool that you had that intuition to just
unbelievable.
Like a light bulb went off.
I was wondering if it was like about a puppy or if it was a kitten. I always wondered if that was, if that would have made a difference. It probably wouldn't have. Yeah. But
do you feel like you have a special affinity for cats?
Yes. Yeah. And then we'll go into that later.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, what a perfect segue, because you kind of call out that, like, would the life have gone a little bit differently if it was a cat for dog? Because you have a hobby that you kind of turned into a lucrative business of making cat toys, correct?
Oh, God.
Tell me all about
oh, my God.
how you got into
my other hobby.
It's such a cool hobby.
No.
And
tell us like how you started picking up, like, maybe like you said, maybe it was because it was like a little kitten that you found versus a dog that you found.
Right. Okay. So God, this is so weird now that you're making me think about it in perspective. Everything is kind of puzzle piecing together.
Yeah.
But
I'm enjoying this journey with you. Let me just sink into this.
I will
feel this together.
I will connect those dots for you.
Yes.
So these cat toys. So I was watching my parents' cat that I rescued also on the streets, but that was before I knew I wanted to go into rescue. Anyway, so I was watching him when my parents were out of town, and I just kind of was like, thinking, oh, you need something to do, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. And then I couldn't find a toy for him, and then I was like, oh, my God, wouldn't that be cute if people, personifying, like, animal food or like people food for animals. So then I was like, oh my God, it'd be so cute if I made a donut for him. And then so the donut kind of segued into other junk food for humans, but like if cats
could play with it.
Yeah. So like Erin actually kind of came up with a couple of themes for me. Which one was it?
I don't remember.
No, you did.
I did. Oh gosh,
you did.
I don't remember.
So did you make these with things that you had around?
Oh, yeah. So, also, oh my God, I'm like an onion here. I'm just like unfolding this
Please
onion
tell
right
us
now.
all.
So growing
There's our
up,
episode title.
So growing up, Kateri's. Oh, I don't know about that. Is that? I feel like that could go in dirty ways. So growing up, I loved sewing.
Okay.
Because my mom, I was a figure skater growing up, and so my mom, like when I was younger, she would make these skating outfits for me, and I guess I saw her sewing these costumes for us, and then I just kind of was like, oh my God, I want to do this. So as a kid, I would hand sew stuff because I was not old enough and not big enough to use the sewing machine yet, because my mom didn't want me to sew over my fingers.
Yeah, they scare me, and I'm like 37. Like,
right?
I'm terrified to touch
dude,
one of those things.
always, whenever I touch a sewing machine still, and it's like a little rough area, I'm like, oh my God, my fingers.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You know that scene? Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you tell me.
That scene in Home Alone where like he goes into the basement and like that furnace.
Of course.
Him.
Oh yeah.
So that's what happens to me when I see a sewing machine. Like I literally hear it like.
The flames come up.
Yes, I'm terrified.
More on that later.
Keep going.
Oh my God. No, I love
the
the side notes. I feel like your brain is like my brain. So sewing. And so I would make cat clothes for my cats. And sadly, I would torture them and trap them in my room and make costumes for them. So cats, and then cat toys, and then rescuing cats. I think there's a theme.
Yeah, definitely.
Huge because thing. It keeps going. It keeps getting bigger.
Well,
you don't stop there.
Before we get off the cat toy topic, I just want our listeners to understand these cat toys are not just little mouse toys. Like I know you kind of alluded to this, but they are the coolest things. And she does have an Etsy shop, which we can link in our bio. But they are like there's a little pumpkin pie. Yeah. There's a little birthday cake you can get for a cat's birthday. Isn't that a really popular one?
That was the one you came up with, the birthday cake. And that's like one of my top sellers.
Okay, so they're all these cute little treats, but they look like people food, like you said. But they are so well crafted, and don't you put catnip in them too? So they're like very
smart.
Yeah. So it's really funny when people reach out to me for like custom order, because I'm like, ooh, this is a challenge. Because like I've never made a corn on the cob before or whatever. So it's kind of like a little challenge.
And so you do that too?
Yeah.
That is cool. Wow.
Custom orders. Now you've actually been like placed in magazines for your work,
right?
Like,
a couple times.
You're actually very well renowned.
I don't know about that, but I'm not like famous level. But
I mean, I think you could be.
I mean, honestly,
I need to sell this and get money.
Cat toys from Kateri. Come on. Come on.
That is me.
So yes, all right. So we can segue from the cat toys, but yes, on to your next venture of. So all this evolved into your now what you currently are doing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So since I found that kitten, then I went to Stray Rescue. And so Stray Rescue mainly does more dog rescue, but they do have cats. But they don't have the capacity for the space for cats. It's just like a couple at a time, and then they send them to foster. So I was thinking, I'd been to Japan before, and I was at a cat cafe there. This was probably like, oh my God, probably like 15 years ago. Really that long? Yeah, probably like 15. Oh my God. Time is like flying. Like 15 years ago, and I was obsessed. I was like, this is so cool.
This is Kateri's future.
This is so cool. So it was just because like in Japan, the spaces that they live are a little bit smaller, and they can't, they just don't have the facility and space for animals. They do more like smaller animals. But I was like, this is the coolest thing. And then so ever since I started working at Stray Rescue, I kind of got into that nonprofit world. And then I decided that I didn't want to move to the country. And we opened a cat cafe called the Cheshire Green Cat Cafe in St. Louis, located in the Antique Row side of Cherokee Street. So there's like two sides of Cherokee, but I know you guys, not everybody's listening from St. Louis. So.
Right.
That's why I'm trying to explain where it is. But anyway, so we rescue cats from the euthanasia list and animal control, kind of the ones that need a second chance at finding a home. But also we do rescue kittens from the streets. Like, people do find them. And of course, it's kitten season now. And I feel like I am constantly getting reached out to about kittens.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
there's a kittens.
Yeah.
I have
rescues.
to go back. There's a kitten season.
Oh my God. Well, now, so yeah, it used to be just like the fall time, like puppy, like spring, and then like, yeah. So now, so kittens and puppies, it's like the springtime. You know, everybody's like, feeling good, and multiplying.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
However,
warm weather.
now, yes, exactly. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody's like, I'm feeling good. So, but now it's all the time.
Really?
I don't know what it is, and I think, like, all the people that I work with and rescue and try to, do this same mission of saving cats and, more my side cats, but also saving dogs. It's everybody's full right now.
Huh.
I don't know if it's because the election year that's going on and people don't want to make commitments to adopting.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was like, politics and cat world?
I know. Yeah. So I think there's just the uncertainty of wanting to commit to something as
interesting,
important as adoption.
Really
I would have
interesting
never
theory.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what it could be?
Yeah.
But I feel like also, I don't know, people just aren't informed of spaying and neutering, so they're just multiplying and multiplying.
I wonder if it has anything to do with, I mean, this is getting a little more political, or not even political,
whatever.
But just like people not having as much disposable income, so they can't afford
I think
an
that's
animal,
also it too.
and then they give it up, or they're not doing
the
vet care that they should be doing. Maybe
it's 100%, Erin. 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys are at capacity all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially now, because it is like getting toward the end of summer. There's just, I think there's also like not enough. Like what you were saying, there's not enough resources for.
Yeah. Gosh.
I know vets, like veterinarians, are backed up on their spaying and neutering too. It's just, there's just, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All these rescue
there's
people,
an influx, and
we're all like, I'm getting calls like, can you take these kittens? And I'm like, oh my God, we just got somebody who randomly brought them up to our,
you don't want to say
our
no,
door.
Yeah.
We have one spot, but it's for our like cats that are recovering. So like from an illness or whatever, and we kind of isolate them so they're not around the other cats.
Right.
We don't want to get everybody sick. I mean, we're in a full-fledged cafe setting with 30 plus cats roaming around. Don't want to get everybody sick. Don't want to put anybody on doxycycline.
Right.
So
no.
I don't want to treat everybody. There's a lot going on. So we want to keep everybody healthy, and it gets to the point where I am learning how to say no, which is kind of also like what you guys are talking about, the topic of your show.
Yeah.
Learning to say no, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It really does, because I'm a people pleaser too, and it does suck because, like, what?
And you feel
I
responsible.
feel responsible because I'm here for this.
Right.
You know, this is my
passion.
And, I want to help cats.
Yeah.
And when there is somebody reaching out for me that they need help and I can't help them, I feel like a failure.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of that embedded.
That's so hard. It's got to be really overwhelming.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yes. I appreciate you like being open about that though, because I
am
think you're right. Like, like saying no is such a hard thing. And
I've definitely had to.
Right, to just, but like, because like no is such a finite word.
Yeah.
Right? And like trying to put that in your vocabulary more is hard, I think, as a woman, because I feel like you're right. Like, maybe not even just as a woman, just like as a people pleaser, right? Like, you really do want to help. It's not that you don't want to help. It's just that you also are trying to become more self-aware of like your
not being responsible for everybody else.
Not being responsible for everybody else.
Like. Yeah.
But also, I think as people, we know what our capabilities are. And we know what it looks like when we do something really well. And we also know what it looks like when we do something not very well.
I think that's a really good point.
You know, and I feel like if you just say yes to everything, you yourself will start to notice when you're not doing something really well.
Well, you'll start to suffer.
I was actually just about to say that. It's taking a part of you that you needed to help recover yourself, but something has filled that spot, so you're just constantly exhausted.
Right. I mean, you're like, that's your road to burnout. I mean, that's where you go.
Absolutely. Right. Yes. It's the road to burnout. And it's so hard because you, like, do you find that now that you're saying no, are you able to see when you're starting to dive into the road of burnout, or is it too late and you find the burnout and then you're there? Like, how does that look for you?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think I've taught myself this. So I would say yes, and I would say yes to these dying kittens or these dying cats. And when they were just too far gone, I would lose them. They would pass. But every death kind of takes a toll on your heart and kind of your soul. So it got to the point where when I did start saying no, or I can't handle this right now, it just, like, I noticed that I was taking better care of the other ones that I had.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put so much stress on myself trying to save everyone. Yeah. And I think that is a lot of, I mean, it did take a lot of times that I had to say yes, you know, and yes, I'll do everything. Yes, I can totally help you out, because I don't like saying no. But the longer that went on, I was like, you know what? The more I say no, the better I am taking care of these other cats, and I'm taking care of myself. And, you know, I mean, it's just hard saying no.
I mean,
I think it's never easy.
We have talked a lot about that, and I think most people can relate to that idea. And I think of, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people, right?
Right.
That's what it comes down
it's
to.
Like
or
when you,
animals.
Right. Yeah. It's like these innocent things need you. Like, even with kids, you know, these innocent beings need your help, and you feel like you've been burdened this whole time, and you feel exhausted, and you're like, I don't even want to get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
Because you're like, even though they need meds, they need fed, they need, you know, their litter scooped. It's just like, they need the love, you know, they need love and attention too, and that's all they want.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's when I was like, you know what, I have to start paying attention to my own feelings and my own self, because I'm not being the best self that I can to take care of other things.
Sure. So how does that look even in, so, you know, obviously you have the Cat Cafe, which is obviously like your biggest attention area right now.
I think we have about 5 adoptions going down this weekend.
Yay! So congratulations!
I know, even though our adoptions are slow for everybody, it's a good feeling that there are some adoptions going home.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Well, and you have how many have you adopted to this
God.
date?
I think it's, so without the 5 that are going home this weekend, I think it's 621.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
Yeah, and so these are also cats, like I was saying earlier, these are cats that was on the euthanasia list, but they were also cats that people find, and they're also, we also do kind of special cases, like people going into nursing homes and they can't take their animals, and they're like 15 years old, like the cats. And so they don't want their beloved pet going into an animal control.
No,
you
not
know,
at all.
Even though, you know, animal controls do what they can. You know, and they would rather have their cats free roaming than to be in a metal cage. You know.
Yeah, I think you're doing incredible work. Really.
Yeah, you really are. And then, like, it goes,
it's exhausting, but I love it.
It comes full circle with all of like, you have so many talents, and I would love to dive a little bit more into your artistic side too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because obviously you have the graphic design background. But you also, I've seen some of your amazing, like, artwork, cat artwork, animal artwork.
Like that I painted?
Yeah, you painted, like.
Oh, yeah.
You're a painter,
Kateri? Yeah.
By heart, yes.
What do you not do?
Write music. I mean, the list goes on.
But you might get comfortable in front of the microphone today and might find that you might be doing some music here soon.
Oh, great. No,
cat
that would be fine.
Oh,
my God.
Jingles.
I love jingles in general.
I knew.
I make, like, I've always joked that I should just carry around like a microphone, and just because I'll just like randomly like you know, and I'm like, oh my God, that would have been a really good jingle, and I could have sold that.
Well, we're actually going to clip that and sell it for ourselves as our jingle.
Hey, I need some of that profit, please. I need some of that. I'm not doing this interview for you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
But no, tell us about your paint. So, is there a direction with your painting? Would you call yourself a realist?
I haven't painted in a while.
Okay.
Because I am just so incredibly busy, and finding time to even hang out with friends is hard.
Right.
But I make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I love painting. I love drawing. Painting, it's like a love-hate relationship that I have with oil painting. I love oil painting.
Okay.
But it's a love-hate relationship because I love to like mix and blend and just like paint. But I feel like I want to get everything done in one fall swoop because I hate the cleanup.
Yeah.
Like, even though oil paint doesn't dry quickly like acrylics, but I just feel like I need to get it done as quickly as I can within like a nice, reasonable time.
Right.
Of like how it looks and stuff, and if I feel like I'm done. But the cleanup, I hate it. I can't deal with it. And plus, like, I have animals at home, so I have to like clean it up to make sure that they don't get into it.
Oh, sure.
So I don't have like a studio. It's kind of like the TV room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Which is kind of annoying, but it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
How did you get into doing your oil painting?
So as a kid, I always liked art. And so then I went to school for graphic design. Well, actually, I didn't go to school for graphic design. I was kind of like, I wanted to go into school for fashion design.
Oh.
However, I didn't leave St. Louis because I was like, you know what, whatever. So then I went to Webster University where they didn't offer fashion design. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just kind of pivot and see what I want to do. And my roommate, I was in the art school. I got accepted into the art school. And then my roommate was also an art student. They kind of try to keep everybody in the same. They're like, oh, you're an art student. You're an art student. Okay, cool. We'll put you guys together. Oh, you think you're interested in whatever and whatever. Okay, we'll put you guys together.
That's nice that they do that.
Yeah, I really liked that. Yeah. So from there, my roommate at the time, she was like, oh, I think I'm going to go into graphic design. And I was like, oh, I didn't even really think about that. Let me see if I like it. So I went in there. We started taking some of the same classes, and we both fell in love with it. Wow. So because of her, she probably helped me get to where I am today.
Wonderful.
So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
truly.
So, so Brittany, her name was Brittany Kennedy.
Shout out Brittany.
Yeah, shout out Brittany with 2 E's. And so yeah, she kind of got me into that. But then of course you have to take the requisites. Yeah. I was like, what is that word?
That's all right. I make up words all the time on this show.
And so I had to take all the other, classes. So I took painting, I took drawing, I had to take, all of them.
Yeah.
And
probably
then
like 4 math classes, and we're like, why?
I know. What? Like, why? So dumb. Anyway, I guess it's like you think you're being really smart in the moment, but then now you're like, I don't know how to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Or
I'm not going to be buying groceries and thinking about this code thing that you have to figure out. Just no, nobody's doing that. So yeah, so that's kind of how I have always loved art growing up, and then I just kind of knew that I wanted to get in the art field. Didn't really know what I wanted to do until I met Brittany, and then Brittany was like, oh, we're doing graphic design, and I was like, cool.
But then you think like dabbling in these other classes like drew you to some of the other things as well?
I've always loved painting, but it wasn't to the extent of like, I mean, I would do it in high school.
Yeah.
Because, you always have to take those classes in high school. But that's fine. I loved it. Like, that was like my favorite. It was over algebra.
Yeah.
I loved art over algebra. And history. Whew, that is not my subject.
Which is so interesting. I always felt like history should have been like my own because, like, I love gossip. And I feel like history is just gossip, right? Why was I never good at it?
I can totally see that. Yes.
I was like, why was I never into history? It's science. Science was always my jam.
I loved science. I did want to take, growing up, I really loved watching Unsolved Mysteries. Like when you were homesick, that would be on.
Right.
Oh my God. So like watching Unsolved Mysteries, and I was like, yeah. And so like in high school, I did take a forensic class, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yep.
Blood spatter analysis.
Right.
This is great.
Right. 3 meters from the victim.
Right. This person died before they were drowned. Sorry, off the tangent.
No, totally.
We really did go off.
No,
of that.
yeah. So
that is my brain.
We've got all.
That is 100% my brain.
Cat. No, you've got the passion for your cats, and obviously your artistic side. I know you have a few other things, baking, and you're a big baker.
God, yes. I love baking. Yeah. So before we open
you
the
really do it all. I mean,
no, I don't. It's like more of like the homemaking hobbies.
But you're really good at it. like you're like why do we downplay that first of all?
Good question, Erin.
You know what? Good point, Erin. I am a good baker.
Yes, right. You are. So tell me all about your baking. How did you get into baking?
God, I don't know.
Was it when you got married and you just wanted to do
I don't know. It's always been a hobby.
Yeah.
I I was more baking, but then after I got married, it was more cooking too.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I never really knew the flavors that went together, but now I'm like, ooh, basil goes with this. And I'm like, before I was like, whatever, basil.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When I know like cinnamon goes with like, this and this and this. But it's like, I've always loved to try new. Well, I also had a sweet tooth. I have a really bad sweet tooth.
Me neither. Yeah. Yeah.
So sweet tooth is my big thing, but now it's so weird because I think my tongue is changing into salties.
Oh, interesting.
But I still love to bake.
Yeah.
Okay. And I still love to eat it.
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't know what it wants. It just wants it all.
Sure. So being in this, like, so we're talking like you clearly have so many hobbies. Okay.
Help me.
Let's pull out a little bit. So let's just take you, Kateri, business owner. That's all right. You can hit that mic.
I know. I didn't mean to.
Kateri, business owner.
Correct.
All of these hobbies underlying. How do you find time to put those hobbies into your life as a business owner? Because that's something that we're very curious about ourselves.
So before it started off as a hobby, before I opened the Cat Cafe, it's like that is my release. The
hobbies are?
Yeah. So I need to like de-stress.
Yeah.
So I feel like that, like making cat toys, like sitting on the couch, like vegging out, watching Netflix or whatever, watching a show that I've seen a million times, or it's like trashy TV, like Real Housewives, trashy TVs. And so it's like I needed something to get out of that world of rescuing, of business, of money, and nonprofit, and just everything, of cats' health, of everything. I just needed to like put a pause, to sit down, and I'm also a fidgeter. Yeah. So that's why I started all these things, like sitting on the couch watching a trashy TV show, making cat toys.
So
I always feel together. Those are together.
We learned that's called habit stacking. Your habit stacking.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a bad thing?
No, no, that's a great thing. It's something I didn't know about that like I'm trying to explore myself. It's like while you're doing like
it's like if you're
TV,
knitting or whatever.
Yes. Right.
See, like also when I'm working at home, I work from home. Thank God they let me. Stray Rescue allowed me. My boss that let me work from home.
Wonderful.
So I am. She like was like when I presented her that I was like, oh my God, Cassidy, I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna open a cat cafe, and she was like, I was like so worried because I was like, I'm not gonna have a job. Yeah. I'm gonna have to rely on the cat cafe that we're just starting this new business, and so thank God, I was very thankful for that. But she was like, okay, and you're still going to work here, right? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that was an option. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, I love you. So like that, I feel like there has been a lot of, I guess, thankful things, like blessed things that have come so far. Because, like, it's really rewarding.
Like, things have just worked out the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, they worked out.
And,
yeah.
I mean,
things,
with a lot of hard work on your
right.
part. But,
yeah, but, like, things fell into place.
That.
Things fell into place for the better, I think.
Yes.
But stacking, my hobby
your
stacking.
Your habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
Hobby stack, whichever one you want it to be.
So, I feel like making cat toys is better than drinking.
Oh, for sure.
Or you know what I was thinking.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do drink.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking it's like better, like it's so much better than scrolling social media, because that's what I find myself doing a lot is watching a show that I don't,
that you're not really
that I'm not really into, and then scrolling social media, and then I'm like brain
my God.
dead.
Yeah, and you're like, I was just doing this for 30 minutes.
Like I need to find something like that.
Because
I feel like I'm a fidgeter too, and
I just need
like
something to do.
I noticed my oldest daughter doing that, because that's why I kind of wanted to circle back to that. Because my oldest daughter, she's been watching Hannah Montana. I'm super proud of her.
Oh my gosh!
So she's going through Hannah Montana.
Tam
but
loves
she's
Miley Cyrus.
I do.
So, anyway.
Hey, I really like her too.
But she's been crocheting while she's doing it,
and
I was
wait,
like,
how old is she?
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, she's like 5 years old.
No, that would
kids
be my
grow really fast.
I know they do. But so I noticed her doing that, and I was like, well, that's a clever idea.
Yeah.
Instead of me, like you said, because I do exactly what you do, Erin. I put on a show that I kind of seemingly want to listen to, but not really, and then I doom scroll, and then I wake up 30 minutes later, and I'm like, well, that was time
You're like, that
totally,
what did I just do?
Yeah.
Right.
And not great for mental health.
No,
right. You're like, oh, great. Yeah, now I
feel worse about myself.
Right? And so like, I was like trying to think, I was like, what can I do differently? And so I noticed Lennon doing that this week, and I was like, well, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, absolutely brilliant that she found something to do with her hands that's productive while still kind of like indulging in like a show. So I feel like it's almost kind of like meeting you halfway, right? It's allowing your brain to still watch the trashy TV that you want to, but still finding a way to make use of that time. So I feel like that's interesting that you do your cat toys, because I think that's something that I'm probably going to try to explore.
Yeah.
It's like,
do it.
What can I do with
like,
my hands?
I know that people like meditation coloring or whatever. What is that?
Oh, yeah.
What are those?
Adult coloring books.
Adult coloring books.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, maybe I haven't tried that.
Like even doing that, because it's just getting your mind off of the world around you, and it's making you focus on something that is meditative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Meditation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, you can still watch your trashy TV, and it's not taking a lot of your focus. I mean,
do you find that when you're doing the cat toys that is what help? It really does help, like kind of
pull you
block
out
all the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I have this way of thinking where I'm able to stop things while I'm doing things, like focusing, but then of course the anxiety comes back, and then I'm thinking of all the things that I could be doing.
Oh yes, which is so hard
to fight. That is a constant struggle, right? It's like, it sounds like you're pretty good at managing that, like stopping and doing these hobbies. I have a hard time picking up a hobby because I feel like I should, it always overpowers me, all these other things I should do. So I end up doing those things, cleaning the house or doing work stuff over the hobbies, and that's kind of where we're at, trying to prioritize those things more, which it sounds like you're really good at.
Well, so what my little trick is like I will reward myself with it.
Oh.
So it's like I will do, if I'm doing like a brochure or something, or on, whatever. I will, or cleaning
for
the
work,
house.
you mean?
Yeah, for work, or cleaning the house. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to dust the house first, and then I'm going to take a little bit of a break, because I don't, even though I'm like type A and I like things done all the time, like just getting things done, one fell swoop.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm like, painting is hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to get everything done, but then it's like, you know what? I don't want to torture myself doing something that I don't really want to do, but I know that it needs to get done.
Right.
And then I will reward myself, like I said, by, working on a cat toy that I sold or whatever. Yeah. It's not like
that's a great way to try to do that. Change that mindset to a reward system.
Yeah, it's more of a reward.
Interesting.
And then I'm like, I just finished this, this order. I'm gonna go vacuum now. Yeah. Finish the house or whatever.
I hadn't thought of like that.
Yeah, me either.
Thought of it in that manner before, and I wonder if that would kind of help me. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to think of it as like a rewarding myself as opposed to. Because I think
it's a more positive spin on it.
Yes, I think I still struggle with trying to find that self-care and hobby time.
I agree. Same.
And so I feel like maybe if I kind of put it in like a reward system, I wonder if that would kind of help me improve that. What a great suggestion.
Or even like by, thank you.
Yeah.
I was even like by the end of the day, like, people have the 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Right. And so like 9 to 5, I want to stop. I don't want to be working on stuff that could be put off to tomorrow.
Right.
But because I'm a type A, I want to get everything done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to check off all those
check that list.
Yeah. Even if you think about it, if you were to, like, if I was to make everything right now, it probably wouldn't have been as good as if I would have waited and do it tomorrow when you have a fresh brain, a fresh start.
Yeah.
Night of sleep.
Yeah.
So
what is that?
I know. What is night of sleep? What is night of sleep?
I don't know.
We have a couple
I keep hearing people talk about this thing. Maybe we should do an episode about that.
It's been a long time.
Sleep. You guys should do a sleep study.
My God, Kateri, you've been amazing for us on this show. Like, I'm so grateful that you came on and shared all the things that you have with us. I feel like I'm definitely going to try the reward system. I feel like that's super helpful.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to promote here while we're on our show? I know you got
spaying and neutering is important.
Thank you, Bob Barker.
Bob Barker message.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Spaying and neutering. No, but I mean, seriously, spaying and neutering is very important. And if you are looking to adopt a pet, it's not just like it has to be for life, because like I'm seeing all these cats that are getting surrendered, not just from hard cases, just because they're moving in with their boyfriend and he's allergic or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like, I feel like a pet is a family member, and if you're giving it up for reasons that are selfish, I feel like you shouldn't even
Yeah.
Fair.
Go there.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's a great
message. That's just me, and people can hate me for saying that, but I'm tired, and I know that rescuers are tired seeing these poor animals getting surrendered for the dumbest reasons.
Yeah.
Or the dog pottying in the house.
Yeah.
It was like the first week they had it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just,
take care of them.
Please take care of your animals and take care of your health, your mental health.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a great message.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kateri.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kateri. You've been awesome.
I
Thank you for listening to The Art of Hobbiness. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And for more Erin and TM fun, be sure to follow us on all socials for behind-the-scenes footage on our journey to find hobbiness.